Baltimore Ravens versus the Houston Texans this week. Baltimore Ravens look fantastic, and actually I thought they even maybe came out with a little bit of rust, but still just beat the crud out of the Cleveland Browns. Houston Texans, I actually thought played a really nice game against Kansas City, but they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs. It's tough. That's a tough draw week one. And Baltimore is talk about two really bad games to start a season. You got Kansas City and Baltimore.
And the Ravens.
Oh my gosh, the Houston Texans kind of got railroaded by the.
Good, that's what Bill O'Brien deserves. Andre Hopkins, he deserves the worst 4-game start ever, and to be fired by week 5.
It's tough draw for Houston. But let me hit you with projections here. Let's see. I think Lamar Jackson. I think I'm as the second ranked quarterback in terms of projections. You start him every week. Running back, honestly, I'm going to stay away from everybody other than J.K. Dobbins. We saw him get in the end zone twice this week. I think his share of carries will continue to improve. I think he was the most explosive running back on the roster. So I'm going to stay away from Ingram. I'm now moving my starting running back over to J.K. Dobbins. I was curious to see when that would happen. Well, it happened in week one, basically. Receiver, love Marquise Brown. We've been talking about him all offseason. It's only a matter of time before he starts getting 2 touchdown games, like 150-yard games. He is basically what Will Fuller was, kind of coming out, that explosive guy, injured the first year. He has super high explosion capability here. Mark Andrews definitely start. Ravens, other wide receivers I'm staying away from. Houston, Deshaun Watson, I don't have a great projection, but I think he start Watson every week. I'm not worried about that. David Johnson, I liked what I saw. He looked quicker. He looked lighter on his feet than we'd seen in recent seasons. Room for optimism there. Will Fuller, in a week where everybody's ripping their hamstring up, Will Fuller's hamstring miraculously comes through week one unscathed. Nice target share for him. So I will take him. I'm selling on all other receiving options at this point. Keep an eye out in touchdown leagues or DFS for Darren Fells. Take it away, David.
Well, let's just start with my Ravens. I mean, if they didn't play another game this year, it wouldn't be terrible because I could just run victory laps for days. I mean, I feel pretty good about my predictions for the Ravens after week one because I always had Dobbins above Ingram in my rankings. It was never a question to me that he was going to take over. And Mark Ingram made my all-fade list for 2 reasons. In fact, he ain't going to catch the ball. He had 26 receptions last year, and now you add Dobbins into the mix. He had 20 reception, almost ceiling to me this year. In his 15 touchdowns, he caught 5 on 26 receptions last year. Those were going to be cut in half. You look at week one, he didn't score, he didn't catch the ball. And it's maybe I'm doing the confirmation bias thing here with one game, but it's clear to me. He's not going to be scoring touchdowns at a high rate with Lamar Jackson. J.K. Dobbins now is already stealing goal line work, and he's not going to catch the ball. He shouldn't have been on any of your fantasy teams if you were doing it right. But if he has a touchdown this week, you need to get off that train as soon as possible. If you can recoup some of the value that you spent picking Mark Ingram, you need to do it because he ain't going to provide a whole lot for you the rest of the year.
I was going to say very quickly just to add, I mean, you watch the game, you see it. Dobbins is the better running back. It's only a matter of time before the carry distribution is going to be completely skewed in Dobbins' direction. We're talking about like 2 or 3 weeks from now, it's going to be dominant carries from J.K. Dobbins. It's just how it's going to be.
And you talk about the other side. You say Houston looked good to you. They didn't look good to me week one. And about the only guy who did look good to me week one was, I'll say 2 of them. Will Fuller looked good, and I think David Johnson looked good. But I have some major concerns for Deshaun Watson, not because of anything Deshaun Watson's doing, just because of that Hopkins loss. And I think Brandon Cooks is a good receiver. The problem is the way they're using him. If you watch that week one game, they were trying to use him in the Hopkins role. They were sending him deep and trying to give him those 50-50 balls, and that's just not what he does. So I don't know if Watson is really going to have anyone to rely on besides Will Fuller in this passing game. If they don't start using Brandon Cooks in a different way, they need to use him differently than they did week one. I hate the matchup week 2 for this Texans team. I'm not starting any of them. Will Fuller, bench. Brandon Cooks, bench. David Johnson needs to be on the bench. Baltimore's defense is legit. There's a reason we shut down Cleveland in week one, even though Cleveland the past 2 years, has played very well against us in our first matchup of the year. There's a reason we shut him down. It's because that defense is legit. If I have a better, even close option, better than Deshaun Watson, if it's a one quarterback league, you're definitely sitting him. Super flex, you might have to start him. But if you've got 3 QBs, like in one league, I drafted Watson, Goff, and Tannehill. Watson's going to be on the bench next week, and I'm going to be playing Jared Goff and Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah. Quickly on David Johnson, and the matchup's tough. I mean, Baltimore's defense is so good. Matchup's tough. Let me just say one thing. So I mentioned Houston played a good game. I think they played a sound game. I think Kansas City is just so much better than everybody else. I think Houston played a winning brand of football, especially with what we saw, but they just ran into a buzzsaw. So that's my thought. I know that Kansas City covered easily, but I think Kansas City's going to cover their spread easily for most of the year. But Houston again playing Baltimore. What a tough draw. Can you imagine 2 worst games to start the season? Holy crap. David Johnson. Let me just say one thing about him. The ability to kind of jump cut, move his feet. His feet were quick and his vision was really good. So I do like him quite a bit. The matchup's bad for him this week. But let me hit you with the line here. I know you're a Ravens guy, so try to be unbiased. But it's Baltimore minus...
I'm taking the Ravens.
minus 65... No, minus 6.5 points versus Houston Texans. Yeah. You know what? I'm taking the Ravens, too. All phases of the football. They're just a better team, man. They're in a different class. They're in Kansas City's class. They're just a little cut above Houston. Houston, really tough draw to open up the schedule. I don't think they're a bad team. I really don't. And a lot of people are going to be selling on them after they probably lose this week. And you're going to start, if you're a bettor, you're going to start being able to buy low on fantasy guys. You're going to be able to start buying low in bets against the spread. It's just a tough draw to open the year, man. But, they showed a little bit of fight against Kansas City. They're just not Kansas City.